Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Women Leading Change Now, United Nations Commission on the Status of Women 66. And here we are again, finding ourselves checking on the status of women. And this is in 2022. This is our 66th convening, and we're so happy for everyone to be here. I am Yvonne Gamble, CEO of Sandpete Financial Group. We're a venture capital firm. I am also the co-founder of Women Leading Change Now, and we host our events parallel to the United Nations events every year. Today, I have a treat for you. I have with me in the studio, Deborah Hightower. She's a thought leader, a speaker, an author, and she is a women's advocate. So get ready. She's going to be talking to us about readying your finances for a changing environment. So that's a very interesting topic. I'm going to bring her on and let her tell you a little bit about herself, and then she's going to go into her topic. So just sit back, get ready, and we're going to find out all we need to know about readying your finances for a changing environment.
Hello, Yvonne. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And I am so excited to be here to talk about money and finances. That is what seems to be the hottest topic always. It doesn't have a season. It doesn't have a climate. It is always an interesting topic, and one that is well sought, and one that we need to always have on our minds. Today, I would like to sort of explore the topic of climate and environmental events and the effects on companies and financial markets from a macro perspective. Then we will drill down to a more micro viewpoint of how all of this pertains to women and our success. And lastly, I will outline how we can be and stay prepared to navigate the changes to come. So some may ask, what exactly does all of this have to do with us as women? By the time that we end our talk, I believe that you will have an answer to that question. But first, let's sort of lay the foundation. Climate change is an all-encompassing term used to explain long-term changes in weather patterns and temperatures around the world. This crisis leads to conditions ripe for severe weather and climate events like hurricanes, wildfires, tornadoes, and extreme winter storms. Climate scientists and economists have long warned of the potential impact of climate change. And really, we are starting to see that globally and how it affects everything. And these are not one-off events. For example, California wildfires for the last 2 years have burned almost 7 million acres, destroyed 14,000 structures, and caused multiple lives. East Coast hurricanes, mid-America tornadoes, and winter storms have shut down power and other essential services. Between 1980 and 2020, the U.S. sustained 285 extreme weather events, which cost a total of $1.86 trillion. Studies have shown that the U.S. will see an increase in economic losses from higher temperatures. During 2021, there were 20 separate billion-dollar weather events that totaled $145 billion in loss. Everyone, regardless of where you live, have been impacted in some way. And more often, the hardest hit are those who live in low-income areas with limited access and limited resources. The Pew Research Center conducted a 2020 survey and found that nearly 2/3, or 64%, of U.S. adults say protecting the environment should be a top priority for the U.S. government, while about 52% say the same for dealing with global climate change. In the U.S., there is partisanship consideration. Partisanship has played a major factor in these priorities. More Democrats and Democratic leaning independents, about 85%, think protecting the environment should be a top priority for the president and Congress. Republicans and GOP leaners, about 39%, think the same. Most of the increase in the share of people who prioritize climate change have been among Democrats, not Republicans. So let's take a look at the global crisis we have all dealt with since 2020. The crisis that has affected the globe. COVID. COVID has changed the way we live. It has fundamentally reshaped everything. Wherever you live in the world, you've been affected. It has changed your life. Travel has had all but ceased. Lockdowns, non-emergency medical procedures were halted. Work from home, school from home. Think about how this environment has changed for you as a woman. Women disproportionately have suffered professional and personal sacrifices to care for family members, to manage at-home schooling, to do food and other essential shopping, sometimes with limited supply, and of course, while sustaining their own careers. These crises have impacted our physical, our mental, and our spiritual selves. So how does all of that affect companies and the financial markets? Financial industry leader experts believe that climate and other environmental changes affect the financial system in two main ways. Number one, physical, which is property, infrastructure, and land. Human capital can be added to that category. And human capital means you and me. Some of us have had health impacts from this. Some of us have had COVID. Some of us have cared for family members who have had COVID. Some have had their living sustainability interrupted. And some have had food insecurities that we have to deal with. Number two, transition risk for companies and financial markets include climate policy, technology, and consumer and market sentiment during the process to get to a greener economy. We got here. It took us a long time to get here, and then it will take a long time, or hopefully not as long, to get where we need to be with a greener economy so that we can all sustain the environment, our ability to live in health and mental and spiritual fulfillment. So financial markets are affected by credit, by profits, the prospect of future growth, shareholder dividends, really the same thing that we are affected by. The economy is really a delicate dance between everyone. So let's break it down to a simple step process. Let's think about how these things might affect you and me. For example, in case of a severe flood, your business is closed, which is your livelihood. No work, no pay. You can't make your house payment. The mortgage company forecloses on your home. If it happens to be a great number of people that are affected, the bank, their capital levels may fall below the minimum required. So the bank cuts the number of loans they provide, which places a struggle on businesses and individuals that need loans to sustain. What if the bank makes less loans? They make less fee revenue. Investors may view the bank as less valuable and sell their shares, putting pressure on the stock value, thus impacting other shareholders. So what may seem a little thing actually filters down through the system. You may remember 2008, 2009. Bank and other financial institutions were in trouble because of subprime loans going bad, thus impacting their capital requirements. The financial markets had a dramatic sell-off because of it. What if you depend on that area of the economy for your own living and sustainability? Our economies rely to a large extent on financial markets. Many companies use public financing or public markets to finance new products and projects. Pension funds invest people's savings in public markets. Thus, the delicate dance. Whatever your level of business acumen, whether starting or running a business, exploring your best investment opportunities, there are some things to consider, which leads us to 10 points that I believe will help us better prepare our finances for the climate movement and to help us sustain during times of uncertainty and crisis. Number one, increase your cash savings. Many financial advisors purport 3 to 6 months of savings in cash. They believe that's the magic number. I believe it should be extended to 6 to 8 months while maintaining some credit options. For example, have an emergency credit card available. This helps ease the strain of living paycheck to paycheck. In the midst of a crisis, it also lets you focus on your physical and emotional well-being. Number two, keep a small amount of cash available in case computer systems are down and no card transactions can be made. It does happen. If power is out, you can only negotiate and purchase in cash. Number three, make sure you set up and can access your accounts online for bill payment, for ATM withdrawals, and other no cash transactions. Set up a second means of money transfer, like PayPal or Cash App. Number four, do not have simple passwords. Use special characters that make it harder for someone or a bot to figure out what your passwords are. Keep passwords safe. Use a two-step authentication. And always be aware of phishing and other scams that could put you in a vulnerable situation. Number five, keep important information in duplicate. For example, scan and upload your insurance information to the cloud or your phone or a thumb drive. Keep those important papers, insurance cards, bank account information. All of those things are important that you have access to them. And in the moment of crisis is the worst time to be trying to figure out what your passwords are and where your important documents are. Number six, protect your physical property. Whether you're a homeowner or a renter, insure your property. Depending on your geographic location, whether you're in a flood zone or a tornadic area, make sure your coverage is sufficient. Insurance is a big cost, no doubt, but the cost of not having it is even greater. Number 7, upskill for your future. If COVID taught us anything, it taught us that we need to be technologically savvy. The financial industry had not always embraced using Zoom and FaceTime and the kind of video conferencing with customers and clients. But COVID changed all of that. Think about how you could operate your business if you had to from an alternate location. Financial institutions sent hundreds of thousands of people home during COVID, and yet they didn't miss a beat in servicing and advising clients. They had a priority, they had a plan in place in the event of crisis. And for you, think about your plan B. Humans are creative and have the ability to figure it out. And COVID brought out the creativity of many people that led to thriving businesses. I want you to remember there is always an opportunity in a crisis. For example, look at restaurants. Restaurants, many had to close because everyone was stuck at home, no one was going out to eat. But what did they do? They figured out a way to make their businesses sustainable through this crisis situation. They set up home delivery. They set up, here's a recipe and here are the ingredients so you can cook at home. They were creative. Humans are creative. Never forget that you can figure out how to do it in the time of crisis. Number 9, know where your financial assets are and know the risk of those financial assets. Know your resources. Resources include people you know, assets you own, and that kind of thing. For example, if you own acreage, have you thought about adding a solar or a windmill farm? Number 10, this brings us back full circle. Number 10, invest in and buy from companies that have high ESG ratings. E is for environmental, which includes climate change, carbon-free, green building, renewable energy, water stress and pollution. S is social, that relates to consumer protection. It relates to pay parity, diversity and inclusion, equal opportunity among genders, and labor standards across the world. And G, governance, relates to board structure, business ethics and fraud, corruption, executive compensation. Each of these components affect women. It affects you and me. And when women come together, work together, and create together, the world has no choice but to become a better place. Thank you for being here today. I trust you have the basis to find the answer. What does this all have to do with us as women?
Wow. Oh my goodness. I hope everyone was able to keep up. I know that Deborah is going to have that information available for us so that we can get those 10 points were magnanimous. And I mean, she just eloquently spelled them out for you. No questions asked. There comes a time when you have someone and it's like enough said. And she says more than enough with what she said. And you most certainly want to be able to follow this woman and want to be able to find out just how much more she has to offer as a thought leader and definitely as a women's advocate. We are going to have Deborah Hightower to speak at our roundtable discussion where we actually, the Lifesavers Ambassadors International, they will be convening their first roundtable discussion, and we will have her on. and that will be actually aired on the 25th of March during the actual United Nations convening, where we will actually be talking with women in granular detail about all the points that Deborah brought out to us, so that we can truly understand and have a roadmap and a pathway forward. How should they get in touch with you if they want to speak with you, or to bring you on as a speaker, as an expert? How should they reach out to you?
The easiest way is at deborahhightower.com, DeborahHightower, very long, deborahhightower.com. You can send an email to deborah@deborahhightower.com. And then, of course, on social media, I'm available there as well. You can find me.
Okay. All right. So the fastest way to reach her would be at deborahhightower.com. And from there, you can actually reach into all of her different social media areas and definitely speak with her. So we look forward to your coming back and being a part of our roundtable discussion. And in that discussion, it'll be a 90-minute discussion. So we will have a longer time with this gem that we have to offer you. But Women Leading Change Now, that's what we look for. Those who advocate for women's issues. And like she says, get your finances ready and be prepared in every way that you can. Any parting words that you would like to give to the women, Deborah? I'll let you have the final word.
Thank you very much. And I want to just speak encouragement and an uplifting mood to women out there, because I will just repeat my last few words. When women come together, they work together, and they create together, the world will become a better place. I'm an advocate for you, and I believe that we will make the world a better place.